Nobody gets to be happy here.
No,
Oh my God,
absolutely.
did you see how long it took to go live?
Well, I mean, yeah, it always seems to take a little bit. Like, what is it? There's like I think there's like a 10-second delay or something.
Yeah, it felt longer than 10 seconds this
Seconds,
time.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
morning, everyone. It is
Nah.
July 10th,
No,
2023.
I'm really not liking this July thing. I really, it's like, no, this is going way too fast. I don't like it.
Something really interesting happened last
What?
night.
What
So
happened?
Nicholas Tockert, who usually runs his shows, Never Mind
Yes,
the Furthermore, Mondays and Fridays, and
yes,
even on Wednesdays, but Mondays and Fridays especially matters to us because it's like he ends right as we're going live.
right, okay.
Okay, so like I saw Nick was live in the middle of the night, and I'm like, well, I'm up. What the fuck? And I fucking
Right.
go over there, and Nick was drawing me on his stream.
Ah, that's so
Like,
cute.
oh, it's weird. It was weird, but it was cute. It was. It really, really
Right.
was.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't even know why I told you that. I just thought it was funny.
Well,
All
because
right.
it is. Because it's like both of you, I guess, were having the same problem. Nobody wanted to go to sleep last night.
God, no.
For me, it was just completely the opposite. It's like the humidity was killing me so much. I literally had to take a nap in the middle of the day because the humidity was giving me a headache. And then I couldn't really sleep last night either. Like, I don't know, like the noise of the AC. Is it like there's no winning with me? It's like, if we don't have the AC, it's too humid for me to sleep. Once we turn on the AC, the noise of the AC keeps me up.
Oh my
Or
gosh.
it keeps, yeah, it's awful. It's like that's also the other reason why I don't like putting the AC on, because the noise keeps me up. I mean, it's, or at least it keeps, well, that and the cat trying to wake me up every hour and a half doesn't help either. But
Oh
that's a
my
different thing.
gosh. You ready to do this?
Absolutely not, but hit it.
Go.
Wow, that was fast. Oh my goodness. So good morning, Nita. Oh my
Good
goodness.
morning, Daphne.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's less humid today than it was for the past couple of days because it thunderstormed like crazy yesterday.
Oh, dude, I get up this morning and
Right.
all I see is Queens, the Bronx, Connecticut, everywhere. It's just all flooded. It's all flooded. And I'm
Right.
like, oh shit, I hope Daphne's okay.
No, like I said, it's like it took once we fixed after the last flood, we had we had our check valve finally fixed because that was broken, and that was like really the real issue with our flooding issue. And every other plumber that we brought in to take a look at it to see if they could fix it because it's been broken for a while.
Right.
They all said that the job was like, oh, this is a $20,000 job. We have to tear out the entire floor of the basement. We have to redo the piping and this, that, and the other thing. So
That's
we
a
never
whole
got it
goddamn
done.
house down here, right?
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, so it's like, we never did it. And then it's like we had a handyman over. Yeah, we have a handyman that comes over, several times. And he's done so many little jobs in the house that he literally built this house practically.
We were just
All the
talking
little
about
jobs add up. And kind of like as a last resort, I says, like, look, I have this check valve problem. Can you think you can figure out how to fix it? And he goes, oh yeah, really easy. $50.
Were you scared though?
What?
When you hear $50 when everybody else is
You
like
know
20
what?
fucking
It
K,
wasn't.
did
You
it
know
make
what?
you nervous?
Honestly,
Like,
no, it
oh
didn't.
shit.
No, it didn't because it wasn't.
Gonna be
It
duct
didn't
tape
surprise me.
and
You know
spit.
what? Because the only thing because I knew what was wrong with it, which is like this, like it's cast iron and it has a cast iron hinge, and the hinge
Right.
broke. So that's the only thing on it that needed to be fixed. So it's not like so everybody else wanted to replace everything because nobody wanted it, because it's like here, it's like it's either one or the other. Either they can fix it really, really fast, or they only want to do it if it's a big enough job to be worth their time. There's never like a middle ground. So he fixes, he says, yeah. So he was able to find somebody to fix the hinge or to make a replacement hinge. And for $50, he fixed it. And we hadn't had a flood since.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, but here it's like, yeah, it's really awful. Like I said, it's either one end or the other. You know, it's like, but never like, come on, just fucking fix it. Well,
but here you get scared because everybody's a handyman. You know, right. every fucking male over the age of 18 in Louisiana is a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they know a little bit about everything and everything about nothing, and they want to fix and volunteer because it's
right
to be able to do it. Like, we got these makeshift electricians, we got like it's crazy. So anytime somebody, like, I've been quoted like from several sources, a higher price point, and then somebody comes in with that temptation, it's like, bro, is there duct tape involved in paper clips? Because like,
well, we have a friend who would fix his car like that. He was fixing something in his engine, and he goes, yeah, I was using duct tape and a can of Coke. And we thought he was exaggerating until he opened up his hood, and right there was the duct tape and a can of Coke doing whatever it is that he needed it to do to
the fuck. Wow. Well, I mean, hey, do what you got to do.
Right. Exactly.
If it was working,
exactly.
Fine.
Oh my goodness. So welcome everybody to another episode of whatever this is. Is it always about comics? Not really. But we tried to be at least 90% about comics, and the other 10% just whatever nonsense pops into my head, into our heads. So who's joining us in the chat today?
People.
All of them, all the peoples.
Okay, so let's see. Just here for the bonus features is some smart ass. So it's either Bill or Steph.
That's true. Yeah.
It's somebody's here for the bonus.
Declare yourself Facebook user.
Right. Okay, you got Jody McPhee, who loves the title. Awesome, because I stole it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nick is here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Grant.
Hello.
Hasm, which is the collective of Tina and Rodney.
Exactly. Depending on who's at the computer today.
And that's everybody that's talking right now.
Yes. So yes, and I see you, my precious eyeball people on my screen. Hopefully we're all less sweaty today. And if you are catching us on the replay, welcome. I'm sorry.
You poor soul.
But we hope you enjoy yourselves anyway. And yes, and if you are joining us from Facebook, if you are joining us from Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Join our sexy people in the chat. Facebook has a tendency to act up, and Twitter doesn't even allow us to see your comments. So if you're catching us on the live and you want to converse with us in real time, come on over to YouTube and join us in the chat, and we're gonna have a good time. And like I said, if you're watching us on the replay, I hope we have a good time anyways.
All about the good times.
It's all about the good times. So so at that, it's like, hello everyone, my name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means?
Fuck.
Sometimes it's just that simple. I am known. Yeah, I know. I am known. Mood. #mood. I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales. I'm supposed to be getting the books for our previous Kickstarter that just finished for the full color Tall Tales book, or so I thought. Hopefully this week I will be getting the book so I can start sending out everyone's Kickstarter rewards. Thank you so much for everybody who supported the campaign. And speaking of campaigns, I am also known for my mature audience's medieval fantasy drama, Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which returned to Kickstarter August 4th. That's 4, number 4. It's a Friday. So issue 7. Oh my goodness, all these numbers. So issue 7 will be returning to Kickstarter August 4th. Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. So make sure you hit the link in the show notes below. The launch page, the pre-launch page is live. So hit that notify me link so that you will get an email from Kickstarter the second the campaign goes live. And in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales. Oh, you're stuck. Oh, there we go. At talltalesonline.com and egoworks.com. That's EGOWORKS. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at Daphne Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. Wait, all the cards are stuck today or something?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I have them in order.
Right. Well, at least they're in order. Yes. And remember, you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at Daphne Lage, Lager, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. And to tell you more about that, here's Nita.
It's Indie Comics Network. It's on YouTube. It's my channel. It's like, well, it's my Google account's channel. Whatever.
Right. Well, that's true.
There's comics and there's stuff and there's obviously this bullshit, whatever this is. So,
right. Yeah. We thought that. We were organizing stuff on the back, before the show, trying to make it all easier. And now everything's like all the buttons are stuck. So all the cards are up longer than they should be. But you know what? You get to see that information for a little bit longer, anyway. So I think it works out. Oh my goodness. So Nita, do you have any housekeeping?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a rundown of what to expect this week. Okay, so 5:30 p.m. Eastern today. We got Fyke Let's Draw with Rodney Fyke. Beginning tomorrow, Chad and C are back with Build a Comic Workshop. That is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Ooh,
I Need
the
to
new
Art.
one.
This is our new show. This is going to be with our celebrity artist, Vic Medina.
Oh, celebrity artist. Very nice. Very nice.
Okay. All right. And then on Wednesdays at 2:30 p.m., we have Nina Daisy Aberlein with Aberlein Cherry Hotel, followed by the one and the only Daphne Lage Art at 4 p.m.
On Wednesdays-ish, when I feel like running it. But it's always on a Wednesday.
Close enough.
Yeah.
And then on Thursdays, we have at 1 p.m. Eastern, Hung on Animation with Mike Jimmy. He's working on his cartoon for his comic, Life on Korra, which is crazy because we did the voices in it. And I can watch it, and I really do enjoy watching the process of animation.
Yeah.
But I really do not enjoy the process of hearing my voice
it's
over.
Good. It's funny.
Then on Thursday nights, we got at 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday Night Throwdown. That's Rodney, Fyke, Richard, and Vic, and whoever else shows up, and Tina in the background yapping.
Right.
All right. And then Friday mornings at 5 a.m. If you're up that early, Randy Zimmerman is hosting Comics by Night. Friday afternoons, 3 p.m., Allison comes in with Arting with the AliKat, and then we got Saturdays off because everybody needs a break, right?
Right, no, absolutely.
Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., Sunday Funnies, classic show, Randy Zimmerman, and then fucking Sunday night, and then my calendar week, even though it's supposed to be the first day, which never made sense to me. Right. JD Calderon hosts Talking Comics on a Sunday, where we steal our ideas to talk shit on Monday.
Right, no, absolutely, absolutely. It's like we're in the same house, so we all steal each other's ideas.
Snatching and grabbing.
Yeah. So I guess my housekeeping is that just to remind everybody that it's still a way off, but in September I will be at Baltimore Comic-Con, September 8th through the 10th, 2023 at the Baltimore Convention Center in Baltimore, Maryland. I will be in the Artist Alley. So if you happen to be around, come on over, say hi. Say hi, but no touchies.
High fives.
No high fives, and high fives are always welcome. Yes,
but no touchy the butt.
Right, exactly. High fives to the left, no touchies to the right. That's all. And speaking of Baltimore Comic-Con, I was talking about the other day how I was going to have a couple of fan art stuff on the table, and I finally got my Rocket Raccoon print that I'm going to be having for Baltimore, and it's going to go, so they're going to go together with my Rocket Raccoon print. So if you want to pick up either of these pieces, I will have them. A limited amount of them at the Baltimore Comic Con, along with a lot of my fan art stickers as well. If you missed, I think it was a Monday show, not this last show, but I think it was like one of the Monday shows where I kind of gave a rundown of everything that I'm going to have at Baltimore. And even though this show is in September, I'm still kind of like, oh my gosh, how am I going to prepare for this show? Still on the brain. One of the things that I pulled out from storage the other day, which I'm not sure if I'm going to use or not, I kind of have to figure it out. I have those wire cube shelving things.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah, that they're really popular at conventions. They're good at like maximizing space.
But it's more you got to bring.
Well, the fig that I figured that it's like, I have access to a car, because my sister's coming to get me, so I'll be able to bring a lot more stuff.
Oh, well,
but at the same time, though, I don't want to waste space on stuff I know I'm not going to use.
Right.
So, I'm probably like later on, I'm probably going to get like my other comic book display. I have the tall one, because the thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to kind of like block off too much of the space. Hey, Visenia, who just came back from a convention this weekend as well. So I hope you did really well at, I think it's Youngstown Comic Con. I hope she did well there. I know that I really liked her display. So I'm going to be stealing some ideas from that.
Fancy.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to incorporate this wire shelving thing on my table as well, because the thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to crowd myself out.
No.
The comic book wire rack that I have, it fits 4 across and I think like 4 up. It's rather large, and then it's like that's gonna take up a lot of enough space, like half the table space. And then I have this wire shelving thing that it's like, well, I could technically go taller.
You have a 4-foot or a 6-foot table?
A 6-foot table.
Okay.
Oh yeah, if I had a 4-foot table, I wouldn't even think about the wire display. But I have a 6-foot table, and the thing is with the wire display, is that I can go taller instead of going wider. So I probably might do that.
Wait a minute, was that the one where y'all had to piss and shit in porta potties?
What?
Yes, I swear to God.
Ew.
One of the conventions Tina was talking about. Look, Rodney took a picture. And there's shit on the floor in the bathroom. Plus, they didn't have sinks with soap and water. Sinks with soap. Oh, Jesus Christ, Nita. They didn't even have soap. And they paid for these fucking tables. And it was like, oh my God.
Oh, no.
Whoa, what? No, bro. No.
That is unacceptable. No.
Surely Youngstown was the one before. Oh, Tina says yes, that was it.
Right. I mean, maybe it depends. Maybe it depends on where, like, because Visenia looked like he was inside. Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah, they had porta potties lined up.
No.
There was shit on the floor under the tables. Fucking Rodney took pictures. It's like, what the fuck? In fact, they left early. They're like,
I would have left the second I saw porta potties. Oh my goodness. No, that's savagery. Absolutely.
It's disgusting,
not.
man.
Absolutely
Clean your shit up, man. They ought to refund every fucking vendor that paid for a table. I swear to God. Y'all all ought to get together and be like, give us our fucking money back.
No, that's ridiculous. Absolutely not. Well, there's one. Cross that one off the list.
Right.
Wow.
And what's sad is there were a lot of amazing creators there. Fucking Grant was there. Asm was there. Visenia was there. I saw pictures. It's like, dude.
A lot of people were there. Yeah.
Right. Fucking.
No, that's unacceptable.
No.
Well, luckily, I've been to Baltimore Comic Con before, so I know
Baltimore Comic Con is a good one.
Right.
We know this.
Yes. So, So that's kind of. That's good. That's good. So now I'm just thinking about like, okay, should I, like build a wire tower, because then it's like you could put stuff on top, like a little, like a mini banner or something, so you can kind of, it's like, yeah, I would have to play around with it, but because I figure if I'm going to be able to take this stuff with me, I want to take advantage, because it's not like whenever we go to like a local convention and we have to take the trains, we have to really limit how much stuff we take with us.
Right.
So this one, yeah, I know, like really everybody was there. So yeah,
do the wire tower.
Do the wire tower. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Table, you got room.
Right. I mean, the catch is the catch is whether I'd have to ask my sister whether there would be enough room in her car, because like if I could build it beforehand and just take the wire tower as is, so then that way when we get to the convention, I don't have to set up technically. I could just put the tower right there, and not have to worry about like snapping things together or whatnot. We'll see. I mean, it's like, yeah. So, I mean, it's like a lot of effort for one convention.
Poor people. Everybody's
I know. Really? No.
Next week. Everybody's going to be running fever, going to the doctor. Y'all all going to have UTIs.
Yeah, I know. Really. I mean, luckily, it's like, like I said, we're at the we've been to the Baltimore Convention Center before, and my sister lives near enough to it that, if disaster strikes, but we're good. I think yeah, but no, yeah, just cross that convention right off. I would. Oh my goodness. So what else is going on, Nita?
You like what else is going on? You want me to run some bumps real quick?
Yeah, why don't you do that? I kind of miss having bumps on the show.
A bump, because pay attention, folks. Here we go.
Okay.
Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comic Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10. Woo! Okay, and speaking of Gemini mailers, William Russell uses Gemini mailers, and he sent me a fucking pretty awesome package of Psycho Cell. I've got issues 1, 2, and 3 right here.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
They were pristine. Condition. Very much so. Very, 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 very much so. Yeah. I thank him very much for this package. It's incredible. Also, Psycho Cell issue 4 right now. This is a 1980s thriller set in New Orleans, Louisiana, and yeah, so be sure to check it out. Psycho Cell 4 is live on Kickstarter. And also, Tina, start putting where it is on those videos. Roadkill Rampage 4, also Kickstarter.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. I'm so used to everything being on Kickstarter. It doesn't even occur to me that it could be anywhere else.
Well, we do occasionally put, promote stuff that's on other platforms. So we do need to start clarifying a little more, especially now that there's so many more platforms.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Soup, Fun My Comic Crowdfunder, Backer Kit, Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Indiegogo's clinging on there.
Right. It's kind of like it's just in the end, it's just sitting back and seeing like where the audiences are also going.
Right.
It's kind of like watching the whole social media thing, riots happen. But so before you had mentioned that we steal ideas from Jose from his show, and that was kind of the case. Joe did mention he liked the topic of the show today, and what's funny was that I I came into the StreamYard and I had to laugh because that was exactly what I was thinking of, because me and Nita didn't talk last night.
Got that connection now.
Yeah,
baby.
I know, right? And she had the topic up and I was like, oh my God, that's exactly the topic that I wanted to talk about. So last night, so
because you're my husband's clone, I swear to God.
Well, but it's because of your husband that we thought of this topic.
Oh, absolutely.
So last night on Jose's show, talking comics on a Sunday. So if you missed it, it's in the playlist. Actually, it was a pretty good episode yesterday.
It really was.
So it's in the playlist if you want to catch the replay on that. And C was on the show, and he asked this question that I've been thinking about like since last night, because, you know, I couldn't sleep and the air conditioner was keeping me up and the cat was worried that I was sleeping too much, you know, and all that. So what he had asked is, when we promote our comics, do we promote as a medium or as a genre? Because a lot of people misinterpret, like they keep confusing comics as a genre, not a medium.
Right.
And whether that kind of gets in the way of how we market our books, especially if we're looking to kind of expand our audience a bit. And that's always kind of been like an issue for me, because it's like, you know, because for me, comics is a medium. You know, it's like that has multitudes of genres in it. You don't, it's like, comics is not a genre. It's a medium. It's like, we were at a Guillermo del Toro exhibit for Pinocchio at the MoMA several months ago. And he had a similar quote about animation. Animation is a medium, not a genre.
Right.
And so it's the same thing, where it's like, no, it's like, this is something that you can tell all sorts of different stories in it. And, you know, and especially as somebody who is, you know, kind of like crossing the streams a bit, where I have this fish. Yeah, exactly. Well, you see, that's kind of what I keep getting told. Never cross the streams, right? So Eagle Raven Air the First Unicorn is 15 issues of comics, the 15 comic book issues. But I have the prequel that's an illustrated prose story, a short story. And then the direct continuation of Eagle Raven is Cult of the Wolf Witch, which is an I know, really. Yeah, hello, Jake. Yes, it is. I swear, it really is. I think that's more accurate. So Air of the First Unicorn goes directly into Cult of the Wolf Witch, which is an illustrated novel. And then the next project after that is a collection of short stories, which combines prose with comic book work and illustrated prose. So I'm sitting here in my, you know, in my sandbox, and it's like, well, I have this one story, but it encompasses these different mediums. I have comic book, I have prose, I have illustrated, and you know, and I want to add, you know, audio books and all that to that collection, but it encompasses, you know, it that's everything under the Eagle Raven umbrella.
Right.
But the more I talk to people who do the same thing, so far, everybody that I've spoken to kind of say the same thing, where they're all different audiences. And it's like, because I always ask, how do you get those audiences to cross-pollinate? And they go, they really don't. You know, it's like comic people stick with comics, prose people stick with prose, audiobook people, that's a completely different audience. And I find that honestly ridiculous.
That's bullshit. Yeah. I like comics, I like movies, I like fucking novels when I have time to read them. Right. And I like audiobooks because I don't have time to read.
Right. You know, so you know, so yeah, so I just found that really interesting / frustrating that it's like,
you have genres that I like.
Well, yeah, so do I. And that's why I don't understand it, because it's like it's like, so my whole thing is fantasy. It's like I've always and I've mentioned certain things. Like I'm reading this. I haven't read it in a while because I've just been too busy. This kind of like slice of life yoik light novel that I'm reading, and I'm literally going, I would like this novel better if it was in a fantasy setting. It could be the exact same story, but if it was in a fantasy setting, I would have liked it better and probably would have gotten through it faster.
Right.
But the thing is, though, just because I like fantasy comics doesn't mean that I'm not watching The Witcher, which again, it's like watching it as I have the time. I'm only up to episode 2. I know I've just watched episode 2 of the current season now. So, but it's like, it's just kind of weird how it's like, why is it that it's so hard to make this transition, this crossover? If you like a certain kind of fantasy, why wouldn't you like it in different genres?
Right.
I mean, not just different formats, like different mediums.
And you would. Yeah. But the thing is with the comic book people, I've noticed you guys only, for the most part, nobody jump in, not all of us.
Right, yeah.
I don't give a fuck. But anyway, want to promote within comic groups. Well, here's the thing. Most of the people in the comics groups are other comics creators. But granted, creators are fans as well.
Right.
So don't miss out on those. But you have to think outside the box. You have to reach out to these other fucking groups. And by reaching out, I don't mean like you do in the comics groups, because you all fucking do it. You guys really got to start. If you want to see your shit move in these groups, you need to engage in these groups, not drop your shit and dump. Like and share other people's shit. You're all guilty of it. Every fucking one of you. It's annoying. It really pisses off admins because you drop our algos, less attention gets drawn into the groups. The groups don't get recommended on Facebook, whatever. You want to fucking see those groups work, you've got to work them too. But anyway, outside of the fucking comics groups, I need a whip.
Yeah.
All right. But you've got to think outside the box. You need to join, like, okay, for you guys as individual creators, it would be easier because most of you tend to write specific genres. Okay. Like Daphne, fantasy groups would be excellent for you. Right. Fantasy groups, they even have fucking unicorn girl groups, furry groups, shit like that. Join, engage. But you can't just do like you would do in a comic group where you just go and plop your Kickstarter in there, because some of these people don't even know what the fuck a Kickstarter is.
Right. Yeah.
When you go in there and talk about your book, you talk differently. You don't just go and drop your link. And you also talk about it before you fucking go in there and drop the link to go to your fucking Kickstarter. You know, you like and share stuff in their groups that you also like, so that people see the kind of shit you share. That will encourage these people to come over and follow you. Same thing. The easiest conversions out of all of them, honestly, are the horror people, because horror is a horror. Fantasy breaks down into subgenres. Sci-fi breaks down into subgenres. Like those get iffy and picky, but think outside the fucking box. Get off the fucking comics. Well, don't get off of them. Stay there. Stay in those groups, but reach outside. Go into your genre too. Don't just stick to your medium.
Right. I mean, that is kind of tough. That is kind of tough.
It's work. It's more work.
It's always, yeah. Because because it's like I'm doing this collaboration with Krista Crawford for her novel series. She's doing a romance fantasy series.
Sky of Thorns, which is on Kickstarter.
Right, yes. And I'm going to be doing a collaboration, an Eagle Raven collaboration with her on these campaigns. So when the Unicorn King's Daughter, aka Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut, comes out, the campaign in September, both our campaigns are going to be running simultaneously, and we're going to have a special print where if you support both the campaigns, you will get a special print, collab print from me. And the thing that I'm really curious about is, is there going to be, how many people is there going to be making that crossover? Because I don't know, for some reason I can see comic book people no, you know what? No, I can't. You know what? I don't know. It's like what's that like? Is there a Venn diagram here that, you know, people who like fantasy comics, people who like fantasy romance novels? I mean, is there going to be a middle ground? And you know, it's like I think it's an interesting experiment. You know, but the thing is, though, I wouldn't have collaborated with Krista on this project if I wasn't personally interested in the content myself. Like, I'm going to read her book. You know, it's like that you would think, Nicholas, you would think he has a good story should carry well across any media, and it's like you would think. So you know, so again, it's like, you know, when we go back to these marketing exercises that I'm doing because of the book that I'm reading, you know, it's like I really have a hard time believing that I'm the only one who reads a fantasy comic and would read a fantasy novel as well.
You're not.
Like, I have a hard time believing that.
You
like,
shouldn't believe that. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Even somebody who's never picked up a fucking comic book before, who likes fantasy romance novels, would like Ego Raven if they read the story. Maybe not everyone, but people within that fucking group will. There's always a crossover. It's our jobs to find it.
Right. You know, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing. So it's like, you know, so on one hand, you know, I'm excited to see where this crossover, like what information we get out of this crossover. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, well, what if nothing comes of it? It's like, well, if nothing comes of it, then that's just what it is. You know, it's like, but it's not going to change how I'm doing my stories. You know, it's like, you know, it's like the novel is still coming out. You know, that's still going to happen. The short stories are still going to happen. You know, because in the end, it all boils down to I'm telling my story.
Right.
And if, you know, and it's like, well, this is okay. Oh, note that a section of comic creators are working across genres and sell themselves where the work is synonymous but can't exist independently. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that I'm not doing. Well, you see, that's the thing. I'm not sure. Because you know, because the novel that I wrote makes references to the comic series. So it's like, even though I tried to kind of summarize certain things in the novel, because I still have to think about people who maybe the novel is going to be their gateway to Ego Raven first. Oh, right. And that was one of the things that Grant had mentioned, because Grant was on the show as well. Like, I don't read comic books. And the funny thing about that is that we kind of, because what's funny is that I didn't think, I've heard that before, and I don't think it's that surprising. And I usually think it's two things. And this was alluded to, you know, like on the show, that it usually, if someone doesn't read comic books, it usually means that they have a learning disability that keeps them from reading comics. That's why that they prefer much visual mediums like movies or TV shows,
right?
You know, or really, really shitty lettering and layout. I say, Heroinberg. Also, of course, comics are
be surprised.
Who even says they're a genre? No, all the time.
All the time I hear it. All the time.
However, comic book movies are certainly a genre of movie.
Right, for sure.
Right, exactly. Nobody is confusing, you know, Avengers Endgame with movies. Nobody makes that, but people will say that Avengers, the comic, is comics. Marvel, when they talk about comics, they mean Marvel and DC. You know, so people do that all the time. They think of comics, they think of Spider-Man or something. You know, it's like they're not thinking of comics as a medium. And the thing is, though, and what Guillermo was, you know, Guillermo had the same thing about animation, because we had, you know, Idiot Boy at Disney, Chapek, saying that, adults don't watch animation. Animation is for kids. That's him turning animation into a genre.
But then I'm a minor and shouldn't be here. Daphne,
You know,
talk
I mean,
inappropriately
really.
to me.
Yeah, I know. This age gap. Yes.
My no square.
So so Guillermo was fighting the same thing in animation, because like I said, it's like when you have the head of the largest animation company in the world saying that animation's for kids, no adult watches animation, and it's like, do you even know the company you work for? And so people say that, people say that a lot more often. So when people say they don't read comics, usually it's because, for me, it's because bad layouts and bad lettering is usually the reason why people can't read comics.
Yeah, lettering can destroy a book.
They don't know in what order anything gets read in. That's why, like, lettering and legibility is a huge issue for me. That's like the thing that I'm constantly looking over. That's why I don't use fancy fonts. I don't use,
what irks me is the not understanding bubbles, the different types of word balloons. Like, they start creating it, instead of picking up a book that fucking tells you how to do it, folks. Like,
right.
They make up their own shit for
right. What a lot of people don't realize, a lot of creators who are getting there, like, it's like, yes, I understand you learn how to do lettering yourself because it's cheapest. Look, I do my own lettering, but you also have to remember, lettering is an art form in and of itself. It's a language in and of itself.
Yes.
Where it has its own syntax that you have to follow, because there is this kind of like general way that people read comics. What's funny is that for several years when we were going to San Diego Comic-Con, we will always end up sitting next to this guy. I forgot his name, but his whole thing, he did his master's by mathematically showing how people read comics. Like, he literally he was creating math equations to show like how people read comics and how they follow panels and everything. And it was like really, really, like, intense research that he was doing, because everybody he was asking, it's like, he would have his sample page. It's like, okay, I want you to tell me, like, in what order are you reading these panels, and then he, and it's just, like I said, so there's a literal, it's like, it's math. He literally boiled it down mathematically how people read comics. So you can't make it up. You can't just say, oh, well, it looks good here. It looks, no. There's rules you have to follow. And and it's like, and if you don't, and the do yourself a favor and pick up that Nate Pecos book from Blambot. It's on Amazon. I think it's not even $20, and he goes step by step on how to letter your books properly. I kind of think I think that's him. Yes, I think that's Neil Cohn. Yes, I think that's the name. I think that's him. Yes. Yes, I do. He's also the guy that taught me inadvertently, do not talk shit about other artists at a convention.
No. No,
because this was at Chicago. This was at Wizard World Chicago, and again, we were sitting next to him. We all, like, for years, every time we went to a convention, he was sitting next to us. And the I think at the time, I don't know if it was Wildstorm. No, not Wildstorm. That's Jim Lee. Aspen, I think Aspen, right? So they had a booth like diagonal from. So it's so we were like. Always, so we were in Artist Alley, but right across, like, diagonally from us was the Aspen booth, or was it Top Cow? I don't know. It doesn't matter. So I was getting an eye full of Michael Turner artwork all weekend. Here's the thing: I abhor Michael Turner artwork. Like, it's
a natural this.
Right. It's it's sometimes that happens too. So So, I really have an immense dislike for Michael Turner work. So I'm staring at it all weekend. It's irritating the fuck out of me. This kind of like Erstas Jim Lee shit that it's like, I didn't understand why people like this work, but personal preference, people. If you like Michael Turner, you can fuck off and don't worry about me. Okay. That's fine. If you like Michael Turner,
or you could just stay and just be like, okay, take what you need and leave the rest.
Right. Exactly.
Don't fuck off, Daphne.
Neil is sitting next to us. Right. And we start talking about, I don't know, the conversation leans towards staring at this booth. And I'm about that. And it's like, so I forgot exactly what we were talking about, but it was leading up to me pretty much about to say what I just said, that it's like, I was like, oh, I fucking hate Michael Turner so much. I was leading up to that. And he goes, oh yeah, it's like, it's like, no, me and Michael Turner were best friends and we hang out a lot. And at that moment, those words are about to come out. And it was like I swallowed my hands, like, oh, like that. It's like, oh, yep. Oh, I got nothing to say right now. So yes, it was Neil Cohn. Look, it was a long story for a short point, which I completely forgot, but don't worry about it. It's, that's those are two things that I learned from Neil Cohn. Don't talk shit about artists at conventions, and math. Lettering can be boiled down to math. So if people can't read a comic, I dollars to dimes, is because a lot of the comics that they've had tried to read had such shitty lettering and shitty layouts that they literally couldn't read it. And yeah, it's like, so yeah, it's like, what was my point? Oh, you see, this is why I used to write notes and I completely forgot. So yeah, so, not only do people think that comics is a genre, but like, yeah, it's very common to hear people say that they don't read comics, and which is a shame. Which is a shame. But at the same time, too, I've also come across a lot of people saying that they don't read at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's also another thing, too. Like, so even if I am writing a novel, that doesn't mean that they're going to pick that up. It's like, no, there are people who literally just like, oh, I don't like reading at all. That I don't read at all. It's like they prefer the movies. They prefer, yes, and that's why layouts and thumbnails are, I think, like the most difficult part of my process when doing comics, because if you don't get that right, your storytelling is not going to flow correctly, and right. It is going to be difficult for people to read. And I think, like, look, if there was one thing,
meat and potatoes of your
it book. Really is. I mean, if there was anything that I got out of Will Eisner's class that I didn't realize until much later, is that holy shit, he really taught me how to do storytelling, visual storytelling in a visual medium, because I'm very absolutely, Hojo. Bad lettering. I mean, and it's just really like I think some of the worst lettering, what's ironic, some of the worst lettering that I've read has been from so-called professional companies. Jose has a copy of the Incal. It was obviously a reissue. And for some reason, they made the lettering so tiny. It's like, I'm trying to read this book, probably one of the most iconic books in comics. And I had to make sure all the lights were on. I had my reading glasses on just to be able to read the comics, because some brain genius decided to make the font in this book, like, I don't know, 6 point or something. Like, I don't know. It was just really, really tiny. And I thought it was just me until I caught Jose complaining about the same thing. It was like, what the fuck is with this lettering? And I go, bro, I thought it was just me. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like, you would think a company that would know better. And mind you,
companies that would know better. Here's a fucking scout book, right? Murder
Right.
Hobo. Nothing against the fucking creators. It's a good story, but you can't fucking read this shit.
Oh no, I can't.
Look
I
at
can't
those
stand.
fucking purple fucking balloons. Like, man,
I can't stand that. Yeah,
this is a fucking struggle. This is a struggle. So it's
because
not
it
just
blends in. Yeah, those color balloons, they blend into the backgrounds,
It's
and
awful.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's so yeah. So I
And that's
understand.
Scout.
Yeah, companies that you think they should know better,
right?
When it comes to reading and legibility, and to make sure it's like, look, just because you're doing a book in color doesn't mean everything has to be in color. I still have to read it,
Right.
So so that's like a common thing. But like I said, I've had people say, "Oh, I don't read," and and I think that that's the reason why it's like Visenia says, I also found a lot of people that say they don't read comics really mean I wish it was free. Because they're quick to ask if I'm going to update my webtoons. Oh, that's a good point. Like, isn't that funny too? Because first, I think that a girl told me she only reads comics online, and I was like, it's on Amazon. And she goes, what about webtoons? It's kind of funny how, like, we're online all day, right? We're reading blogs, we're reading articles, and this, that, and the other thing, but we can unironically say, oh, I don't read a lot. I haven't been reading a lot lately.
But you can draw pretty pictures.
It's like that's a good point. That I think what it is that they think that reading a physical item is different. Well, it's a different effort than reading online. Right. Because how is it that we can spend all day reading fucking Facebook posts?
Right.
All day, but we don't have the stamina to read an actual book.
But that's the good thing, like with webtoons, though.
Right.
Like I've noticed that a lot of the webtoons that come to Kickstarter, they're not doing single issue floppies and stuff. Right. They're bringing out volumes, and when they do, you do see a conversion of sales off of webtoons.
Well,
so there's that.
Well, that's true, but I mean, but again, it's like webtoons is something that's a long game.
It really is. It is.
You don't just post up a comic, in a couple of months and and gain traction. I mean, you really have to massage that platform.
For sure.
Also, a funny thing about, I know we've gone completely off topic by this point.
We do.
The funny thing about that conversion from webtoons to comics, though, is that like I was noticing that webtoons, they have this format, they have the scroll format, and then it's like they produce the books, and then what I was beginning to notice is like how the scroll format does not convert to a print format without heavy working.
Right.
I know that when I was on webtoons years ago, I put like the black and white version of Eager Raven on there, and it's like I took it down eventually because it wasn't working for me. Like, I think that if I were to do it now, it'd be a different situation because I kind of know better.
Yeah, well, you went and fucked around and played with it, and it
right. Like, yeah. So it's like it requires a lot more.
But that's more to the job. You got to stick with what works for you.
And what I find, like a lot of these webtoon books, that they think that all they could do is just break up the scroll and just put them side by side, and we have a comic book now. And that's not the case, because the readability is really, really bad on that. And because the panels themselves, they were created for a different format. The storytelling is non-existent in the panels. Well, that's what I was familiar with, because like converting comic book pages to that scroll format is arduous. It's like it requires, especially if I'm trying to keep that that kind of like storytelling pacing, which it's like two different things. And we talk about two different mediums, you see and the thing is, though, because on webtoons they don't,
but the ones that do what Bess is talking about right now are the ones you see taken off on Kickstarter.
Right.
like the ones that are giving you pages at a time instead of panels.
Mm-hmm. Right, because they can make that conversion into a comic book page that people are more familiar with.
They're hitting
because
nice.
It's like, honestly, I don't, even though the webtoons to print conversion is there for the higher end books, I'm not sure if people are actually reading those books. Because like I said, the formatting is so bad because it requires a lot more than just breaking up the scroll and, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, but then again, it's like I'm probably just more projecting because that's how I see it. It's like, it's like, yeah, so I wouldn't get too excited about the webtoons conversion. I think webtoons is a good way to get more eyeballs on your work, but you make sure you format your books correctly so that you can jump from the two.
You make that conversion
platforms
easily, or it's going to be extra work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot extra work. But that is the funny thing where it's like but I have to agree with Visenia that what they really mean is, can I read this online, as opposed to buying it, like reading an actual comic, because it's just kind of funny where it's like the effort is different. Which in the end, I can't really say much because I have a whole stack of manga here.
Also, in today's economy,
that I haven't really gone through yet, because actually sitting down and concentrating is a little bit more effort than if I was doing this.
Yeah.
Which is kind of obnoxious.
But not only that, you also have to take into consideration some of these people you got to give them a sample. Anybody that's got more than 3 issues out, make issue 1 available to read for free somewhere.
Yeah.
Give them that link, because maybe it's their reluctancy to just spend the money, take that risk on a fucking platform such as Kickstarter or Indiegogo or anything that requires you to pay before you actually receive a product, because you don't know what you're fucking getting. Show them the history of your work. Let them give them a taste. Give them a good taste. Give them that complete first book.
Right. Well, but also going back to the other episode that we did talking about websites, if anyone
domain names and websites, people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you can head on over to my website and you can read it for free there.
And what is your website, Daphne?
Why? It's egoworks.com.
EGOWORKS.com.
Cut.
Again, it's like, have a different, area. So if that's the case, so it's like, if that's really what we're talking about. Oh, but here's also the other thing too, Nicholas. The other thing that I did that I saw was also getting traction for me was my video comic. I have Eagle Raven issue 1 done as a video comic on YouTube, where I'm actually reading the comic out loud. And I really do think that video was what pushed me over 1,000 subscribers. And not only that, even my mom says, oh, I finally got to read your comic because you were reading it for me, and I was able to see the panels because I'm watching.
Right.
And honestly, that really meant a lot, because like, oh snap, it's like, that's what this is for, so that was kind of like the medium ground too. So maybe that's kind of,
and that'll be right for some. But some people aren't going to want to hear your voice reading the story. They're going to want to hear it in their own heads. It's like it's so.
Well, I don't know.
You got to dip your toes in everything. Everything.
Because I definitely want to do a second video, the second issue. I want to do all the issues like a video.
I want
comic.
you to too.
Right, so it's like, and I have the pieces put together for issue 2. I think up to issue 3 I have all the pieces, and then I just have to edit them together and then do the voiceover and then read the comics out loud. And I think that that's another way to kind of like, it's the same book, but you can read it in these different ways, whichever is more convenient for you. You can have, well, here's a YouTube video that you can watch where I read it out loud and you see the panels, you know, and here is a, you can go to my website and you can read it. It uploads every day. So you can read it for free there. Because also the thing is too, what I think is important to do, like the different formats, is that, yes, I am.
Yeah, I want her to do it just because I want to torture her when she has to read her own issue 7.
Right. Well, no, I can read my own issue 7
in pre-launch.
You know, just what? Yes, it is. Yeah. Only because I go all Game of Thrones on issue 7.
You do.
But
with love,
you know, like the webcomic thing, the reason why, because even on my own website, I don't post up the entire page. Yes, exactly this. Exactly. I don't post up the whole page. This was actually something that I learned from Colleen Duran when she was serializing A Distant Soil on her own website. Where instead of putting up the entire page, she would do it like 2 panels at a time. Like, you know, so if you can divide your page up into 3s, so the first 2 would be an upload, the second 2 would be an upload, and then the third. So the third, because then that way, because there's always this thing was like, oh, well, if you give away your comic for free, what's to encourage them from buying? You know, what's
because you don't give them everything. You don't give them the whole
not
story.
only that, but you're giving them technically an inconvenient format.
There you go.
By breaking it up into panels, it's convenient for them at that moment if they're reading it on their phone. But if they're just chilling and they just want to be able to like pick up a book, they need that format. You know, it's like they don't, you know, it's like there are just some times where it's like, look, I read, it's like, this is literally manga that this is my Omegaverse manga that I really got into. And I read the entire series. Yeah, really. I read the entire series online on one of those scanlation sites, but I actually found the books. Someone was from Japan selling the entire manga series in one, and I paid to have all the physical books because there are just some days I just want to look through it. You know, I just want to flip through it. I just got to make sure I don't hit any questionable pages.
Yeah, wrong show, Daph. Wrong show.
So, yeah, sometimes I just want to open it and look at the pages. I don't want to be on my phone.
Right.
So
the blue light break.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, exactly. So so I bought it like this. So that's what I'm hoping that when I put who knew?
Arr.
Exactly. You know that's I think I forgot what metal band. I think it was, I don't remember if it was like Iron Maiden or something, where they what they did was they looked up piracy, like where their music was being pirated the most, and then that's where they did their tours.
Right.
It wasn't Iron. It wasn't Iron.
It wasn't Iron Maiden.
Oh, it was.
I can't remember who it was, but that did happen. True
yeah,
story.
that did. Yeah, that did. There was
probably
one of these metal.
knows.
Yeah, one of these metal bands, and they did their tour according to which country had the highest piracy, and when they toured to those countries, they made the most money they've ever made. You know, right. On tour, like it's almost like there is a conversion.
Yes, you know? Absolutely, Nick.
No, yeah, absolutely. That you know, so that's what I'm kind of hoping. You know, so it's like that people, they'll read my book for free. They can go to my website and they can also download a free PDF of like the first 16 pages of Ego Raven. You know, they can get that PDF too if they wanted to read it more traditionally. But in the end, it's like, you know, it's to encourage them to eventually buy like the trade paperback or the individual issues, or mostly the trade paperback, so that they have that hard copy when they feel like not being on their phone, not being on a website, but they still want to read my book. Right. Yeah, no, really, Metallica. Yeah, they really
fuck Metallica for that bullshit.
Yeah, even back then, people were like going, bro.
They hadn't made a good album since their third anyway, so
you know,
who cares?
You know, so so it's like, yeah, so that's kind of like how I look at it too. How to cross, like, so it's like, so how do we get people who are reading genres in other formats get interested in our comics? And it's like, well, you kind of have, maybe the trick is converting our comics into like those different platforms, those different formats,
that and going out to them too. You have to go find them.
You see that, that we have to find them too. That's the whole other thing. But you have to kind of have to be ready for them when you do find them.
Right.
So that you say, oh yeah, you can watch. Yeah, it's like what Nita said, that it's like if I had like a tablet that I could just put on the table and just run my trailers, run the I could run the visual, the video of the first issue, with the panels, and it's like, I could do that, at the show. But
you'd come home without your tablet.
Well, that's, I would have to see. Jose says that it's like, tablets are so cheap now that it's like, it doesn't matter. And it's like, I don't know. He said that you can get a tablet for like $30 and, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, I don't know, man.
That's like, the problem. None of y'all motherfuckers want to work. No.
Right.
Wow. I'm just going to be running but
I mean, look, it's like no matter what, it's all.
Jake is banned from our chat now.
No,
he can't come back. No, fuck that nonsense.
No, what did he do?
Oh, okay. I didn't read. Okay, you're top notch, Jake. Okay.
Right.
We're cool. We're my buddy.
All right, we're still good. We're still good. No, Jake.
See, and that's why I say I can't read, because my brain is so fast. I see the sentence as a whole, and I make it make sense in my head myself instead of actually reading it.
Right. Well, hey. So speaking of not making sense,
yo,
here we are at the top of the hour, a little past the top of the hour, and I have no idea if this episode made any sense whatsoever. This is why
plenty of sense. Nonsense.
I mean, yeah, it's like we came. I mean, it's like we started off on one thing, and it's like, oh, did we tie it up? Did we make sense on this? I don't know. We were just talking. Yeah, it's like, what? We were just talking, and it's like, I don't know. We're having this like, I don't know. So yeah. So I guess
speaking of fuck you, it doesn't matter if you got anything from it or not. It's our 2 cents, and it was free.
That's true. Yes. It's the cheapest 2 cents.
Yes, there you go. You want free entertainment? Here it is.
It's the cheapest 2 cents you're going to find on the internet. Oh my goodness. So do you have any kind of like final thoughts on this? Maybe tie it together or something? I don't know.
No, I gotta pee.
Oh.
I got 4 kids, man.
At least look. No, definitely no. Any convention that has porta potty, no, that is not a convention you go to. No, absolutely
Youngstown
not.
Comic-Con. Do not
get
recommend.
Your shit together, literally and figuratively. Really, dudes, come on. It's like I don't even when. Oh, thank you.
She likes it rough, Nick.
Hey. It's like, look, even when I'm running races and they have the porta potties there, I will do everything to avoid those things.
Gross, man. I don't even like public bathrooms, period. But a porta potty,
right? No, it's like what's funny is that in New York, you kind of like develop a second sense for who has the best bathrooms, and then it's like you create this mental map in your head, so it's like it's like wherever you are, it's like, okay, I know they have good bathrooms.
Buc-ee's, anywhere in the country you find a Buc-ee's. If you're on the road and you got to piss and you see a Buc-ee's sign, go there. Cleanest bathrooms in the world. I swear to God, I would probably eat a sandwich sitting on one of their fucking toilets.
No. Absolutely not. You know what? I think that might be time for us to go. So thank you everybody for joining us in the chat. Thank you so much to all my eyeball people watching next to the giant eyeball on my screen, watching us from regions beyond. Thank you so much for joining us for this mess. And like I said, if you guys are watching us on the replay, thank you so much for lasting through this hour or so. Thank you so much for watching. And we hope we don't discourage you from subscribing. But
come on back, because we do this shit Monday and Friday every week.
Yeah, at 11 a.m. Eastern. So thank you so much. And if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and all my other stuff, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook. If you're interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress updates. And you can always catch me here on YouTube at my channel, Daphne Lage, Lage Art, where you can see all my videos and my semi-weekly art live streams Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours of me talking more nonsense while I'm drawing. And remember, you can also read Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales. That's TAILSonline.com. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, but you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which is also currently uploading Monday through Friday. So thank you again for joining us on this Monday, less sultry Monday. Thank you so much. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, both literally and figuratively, and do the work, because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.